New private auras. Private auras are a new thing that is being added in that will give Blizzard, supposedly anyway, a bunch more control over what add-ons can and cannot see. Right, so Weak Auras tweeted saying that in Tan 1, private auras are being introduced that will make it easier for Blizzard to hide specific auras from add-ons, which could be used to restrict add-ons from automating fight mechanics that encounter designers think would be problematic. Now, one of the things that's been a bit more controversial and debated is that the World First guilds, like, they have add-on developers on their teams.
They sure do.
To just build custom solutions for fights. Which, when you think about it, it's like pretty damn mad that we're even going to, kind of going to those lengths. But that is what happens. We can all think of many different fights. I mean, the Dreadlords. Mm-hmm. I remember, Dreadlords everywhere just got the add-on in Sepulchre of the first ones. So this is something that Ian talked to Asmongold about a good while ago, actually. This problem, right, where they're in this friggin' arms race, where if add-ons can completely trivialize a mechanic, and they know that most players, or at least enough players to count, will use a weak aura, then they're in a really weird position. Because what happens if that weak aura becomes the norm? And then you have a situation where you just got to say to your raiders, no, get the weak aura. And it's basically not optional, because if you're not playing within the plan of the weak aura, then you fall outside of the plan, and now you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. It must be an absolutely frustrating thing for them overall, just because, you think from a perspective of just, you're going to play for, do the good thing, do it properly, etc., etc. But there's so many people who actually don't want to play with weak auras. People who don't want to out of principle, out of because they don't like them, out of because they don't like playing add-ons and stuff like that. So I think it is a case of, you just don't. You can't assume add-ons when you're designing a game, because that is literally bad design of making a video game, making a product that's just bad. It's the same way, as an example, they can't design a UI based around, I'd say, people using mouse buttons. They can't say, we've got all this. Oh, what if someone doesn't use a mouse button? There you go. That's a pretty regular example of keybind accessibility. And then the same for controllers, where you can't design a game where the control scheme assumes you have an Xbox Elite Series controller with paddles on the back. You have to design what the average person will do and what you ship. Because if it's not in your game, then you can't rely on it. So obviously it's what's the point of making stuff that add-ons are for?
Yeah, for egregious examples, we've got the assignments for Mistress Assigns Hydro Shot, Radar for Archimonde's Wrought Chaos, assignments for Ashara's Queen's Decree Dance, and the Jailer Bomb assignments, where it's just weak aura handles it. So basically we see unit auras add private aura anchor, which basically just part of the API that lets them just do these special auras. Are World First Raiders scared? Oh no! What will Scripe say?
I love Scripe. He never misses anytime he's anything to say.
Never misses.
He's really good. He's great. Also never misses getting World First. Go Echo.
Go Echo.
I like them. I like this post. But no, I think
it's funny how one Liquid First post that was poorly worded just opened the floodgates to everyone clowning on them, but it's got nothing to do with their raiders.
Yeah, I think it is also there's just a little bit of spirited banter.
Yes.
And whenever people don't respond to spirited banter very well, sometimes people can push it a little bit further. But I think,
I think the thing that Liquid will come up against is being a big megacorp.
Yeah.
Compared to Echo, which do not feel like a big megacorp.
Mm-hmm.
Which, ultimately, it's an interesting thing with kind of and I guess I saw this in StarCraft, but the business stuff encroaching on a grassroots scene. It's all fairly interesting.
No, it is.
Anyway, TLDR, esports is a massive grift. It's a scam. It's all fake. Don't worry about it.
Frankenberry, he said, how are we going to win if our weak auras don't play the game for us? That's what Scribe's tweet said.
Yes.
And it's very, very untrue, largely. Because I think, was it also Frankenberry pointed out, did we even really need a weak aura specifically in Vault, though? Terrorist is the only fight where it helped, maybe Council for the Marks. There are definitely cases where it solves a very core problem that the game doesn't bother to solve just yet. But it's not even weak auras, actually. That's a little bit more a little bit more DBM does most of that work. It's kind of weak auras and DBM get a little bit conflated sometimes because people install both and don't know what does what. But generally,
surprisingly, yes.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I think they intentionally designed around that, and it's been to great success as far as I'm concerned. But I think this was just going to be overall healthy for redesign.
Oh yeah,
it's way healthy for redesign. Gives them way more stuff to do, and I think for the actual explanation of what this literally means physically for you if you're using add-ons is effectively you will be able to, or add-ons will be able to create their own frame just for these auras, these specific buffs and debuffs, and they'll be basically the add-on just sees a black box, which is there's stuff in this we're not allowed to see it, but we can show it to you. As far as I understand, at least, and that's a case of like, say it's a debuff, and it won't be able to know how long you have it, so you won't be able to have a special bar on your screen that counts down the timer. It'll be, you'll see whatever, maybe probably just the basic form.
Well, it would
and
essentially
it won't be able to like count down and go 3, 2, 1, go. It'll be like,
it can't do any logic because it can't see anything. It can't see any of those variables.
Yeah, it won't be able to get the duration. It won't be able to get stacks. It won't be able to get anything like that. So if they wanted to, they could hide. You know the way whenever you get how do I describe this? I'm trying to use an example that works. Razageth, whenever you get the bombs, and DBM marks you with a mark, and it goes, oh well, there's 3 people, so give one this, give one this, give one this. It won't be able to do that if they decide to put that in the private box. Then it'll go, we can show you have it, but we can't tell you. We can't use that information to then move like flashing text, move to star now.
Yeah.
It won't be able to do that. It'll just be, here's the icon, which is like, they likely won't do it for that, but like for something that simple, but likely do it for any like Queen's Decree mechanics like a shower where they're like, we want this to be super hidden. We'll choose that.
I think as well there's times where they will feel more comfortable to do a simple mechanic. There are some mechanics that perhaps could be like super fun, super enjoyable, but this could instantly kill.
Yeah.
Completely negate. Well, if they can hide that, then they can do that mechanic. So they probably feel quite freed up as designers. So overall, I think this is really good.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I think there's one example I want to highlight specifically because I watched Preach's video, not anything about this, but it was about the add-on drama in FF, and he was talking about like add-ons history in World of Warcraft and stuff. And the one example that I think was amazing was when an add-on, when it was I think it was a weak aura at the time, I can't remember. I think it was a weak aura, or it was some add-on anyway, won the world first race against Archimonde for Paragon.
Yes.
Or no, against Paragon, sorry. Yeah, I think it was Paragon lost because he didn't do this, but Method at the time did.
Shut down.
I can't remember, but at any rate, the point was there was this very interesting mechanic that felt a little bit like an FF14 kind of raid boss mechanic, maybe inspired by stuff at the time, but it was the Wrought Chaos where everyone would fire lines at each other, and you had to make sure none of the lines ever overlapped or you kill people. And then there was I think it was Method went, okay, we can get the radar function, you know, the DBM/DBM range that used to exist, and they would draw lines over it between each player, and then if the lines overlapped, they'd be colored red, so whoever was there knew to move until the line was green or blue. But Paragon did it a different way, which is a little bit closer to the like an FF kind of style of, okay, we need a kind of elaborate setup, easy to do, but you kind of have to plan it and then have it, where they had an add-on assign everyone a number, and then they're like, based on your number, you stand in a place.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's go time, get in your position, do your dance steps. So they did that, and it looked really cool to do, and it seems to be the intended way, except for the add-ons having to assign numbers, which is a bit awkward, but it's like the lineup worked perfectly. And like, oh, that's really cool. And then they lost because the people who just used a UI to do it for them. And I think that's a perfect example of they'll be able to make this way, way, way more interesting. They'll do stuff like that again, stuff like Queen's Decree and Ashara, which is really fun mechanics to deal with. But they won't be worried of people going, yeah, well, wait, that's hard. We don't want to do that. Yeah. Hello, developer, could you put this logic down on a bit of paper and try to work out a way to programmatically represent it and solve it that way? So now they have the capacity to go, no, you have to do the fun mechanic yourself. You're like, Sweet.
And the
Excellent.
thing is,
fantastic.
like, if in this case, like, we highlight the Scribe tweet because it's funny, but the thing there is, well, if you think you have the best players and you are leading an esports org or something, you think you've got the best players, then whenever, you know, any helpers, etc., like those weak auras, whenever they get killed, then that's to your advantage.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because if you are better, then you will overcome whatever the adversity is.
Yep. And I think everyone's aware, like everyone in the rating scene's aware that Echo went and did some of the FF14 Ultimates and went, these are great. These are really fun. We love having to play this way.
Did they do them blind?
Yeah, of course they did.
Oh.
Of course they did them blind.
Wow.
They're really, really slow. It took them ages to do DSR. It took them forever. And I think I don't know if they've ever finished
Really must
top.
have had to fight the temptation to go and like look up a guide video on YouTube.
They must have, yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't that be embarrassing?
Yeah, but I guess that's because they're not particularly egotistically attached to the win. They're playing for the fun of it, and they're also very good. And they're kind of like, oh, whatever, we'll see. We think we're pretty good, but obviously they're nothing compared to the like better FF14 groups. And they're like, sweet, whatever. We're just,
you know, it would be funny if some of those top FF14 people tried WoW stuff.
I know I don't think there's ever been like a super concerted attempt to, especially because the numbers don't line up very much. Especially when the FF14 rating, statics have some
you need to
severe
combine.
drama.
It would need to be this like grand alliance of 2.5 groups, and then they would have to contend with WoW gearing.
Yeah, that's probably one of the.
So it's way easier to move from WoW over to FF.
Yeah, but I know there's like a couple. Arthur's in particular, I really enjoy watching Arthur's during Ultimate Prog because he's funny as hell, and he has been like basically tweeting recently about how he's like kind of almost addicted to WoW in a way. Because Dragonflight's like gearing is so like friendly and alts are so nice and like the actual mechanics and raiding and stuff are fun. And he's got like, it's like 3 alts that he raids on now or something. Because he's like trying out different stuff and it's like, that's actually really very nice. Yeah, I think Sphere did play well. I think like a lot of people kind of blended over emotes. There's that many, it's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep track. And Visited says, yep. Yeah, I know what you mean, Visited. Also, I saw you in Fauna's chat the other day. Just a side thing. Don't recognize the name. But yeah. What are you looking at?
Oh, chat.
Oh, chat.
Chat's
Oh,
in the
yeah, you're looking
monitor
at chat.
over there.
Yeah, sorry, I was really confused. I thought you were looking at something like over there about. I was like, why are you?
I don't know.
Why are you here?
So, right, there you go. Addons was you're actually doing something. It's really good.
Fantastic.